What is up, everybody? Star Wars Dad back for another video. Today we're going to be looking at Inquisitor Blue from the Shadows of the Galaxy spoilers that we've gotten so far. And I definitely think that this deck gets some really strong upgrades to make this deck incredibly competitive. So much so that I think this is the most aggressive Star Wars deck I have played to date. You can let's give you some scenarios. So scenario one, you play Death Star Stormtrooper on turn one. You also play Hylobon Enforcer on turn one. You activate Hylobon Enforcer, swinging for 3 damage. Turn two, let's say you have a fifth brother that you are going to play. So you go ahead and swing in with the. Now this is of course assuming that nobody disrupts our units or kills them. But let's say you swing in with Hylobon again for 3. For 6, you swing in for Death Star Stormtrooper. You're up to 9 damage. Then you play fifth brother. You deal damage to it with Inquisitor. You swing in for 5 with fifth brother. So you're up to 14 damage on turn 2. Turn 3, you then play Krrsantan. You swing in for another 11 damage with the units on board to go up to 25 damage, which will win you the game against any 25 HP bases. And if not, you play Krrsantan. You do Grand Inquisitor's ability, and you swing in for 5 damage with Krrsantan to get to the magic 30 HP number. This deck is insanely aggressive. So ideally, you can absolutely win on turn 3. And that's happens all the time against 25 HP bases. I mean, that's not, another way of looking at this too. Like, even on turn 2, you could have played a Scout Bike Pursuer to swing in for another 3 damage instead of the 5, and then play another Death Star Stormtrooper or another Hylobon Enforcer. So you can just have some insanely aggressive starts. If you notice, we are incredibly low to the ground. Our big send-off payoff spell is a Palpatine later in the game if we need it. We're bringing in our bigger stuff in the side. But let's get into this list and kind of talk about how insane this list is. So our 1-drops are Death Star Stormtrooper, just an incredible red-black 1-drop. It's been a great one ever since. But in this deck, we're just mostly using it to be aggressive and go to their face. Then we have 3 Hylobon Enforcer. So that's another great turn 1 play. Then we have 2 Inferno 4. Occasionally we're going to be using this card. Most of the time we're looking for our great units. But another good turn 1 play because we can activate it and swing it for 2 at the very least. Scout Bike Pursuer is another awesome turn 1 play. Can swing in for 3 immediately. And then some of the new cards. We have 2 Dr. Pershing. So this card comes in handy against mid-range and control or hand disruption decks. I don't think you need it against control because you are so aggressive that control is going to have an incredibly difficult time with you because you're essentially Millennium Falconing them every turn is the way I would describe it, without a tax penalty for your resources because you're swinging in for at least 3 every turn. Dr. Pershing is nice though just to have, and it also synergizes with your great unit, so you can deal 1 damage to a friendly unit and then you get to draw a card. So then we're playing 3 fifth brother, just kind of a staple in these Inquisitor decks. On turn 2, you can swing in for 5 damage if you deal 1 damage to yourself with fifth brother. So just I don't know why they said he has raid 1 for each damage on him instead of just saying he has grit. I don't know why they did that. Then we have 3 the client. The client's really cool in here because it comes in shielded. You can immediately activate it. Doesn't take any damage, of course. And then you can either use its action ability to give something bounty so that you can kill that thing and then heal 5 damage. So that synergizes with Jango Fett's bounty ability. But also we can just activate it and swing in for 2 damage. So I like that it's diversity in this deck, and it can come in handy against aggro in case we are playing an aggro deck that somehow had more damage than us to our face, which would, I would find that, it'd have to be like them drawing perfect because we are incredibly aggressive. Deathwatch Loyalist is awesome as well. It does the same thing as fifth brother essentially because it has grit. So we're swinging in for 5 damage on turn 2 when we activate Inquisitor's ability. Punishing One is a card I recently just added in here. I just wanted to be low to the ground, and then, you know, occasionally we're going to defeat enemy units with upgrades, so it just made sense to kind of this theme of just our units attacking over and over again. I was just like, why not? I can still do 2 damage to it, and it can attack in on turn 2 for 3, which is good. And then later in the game, I could, if we kill an enemy unit that we had to with an upgrade, maybe a shielded Chilson or something, then it can attack in again. So thought it made sense, and it's just cheap, and we want to be as low to the ground as possible. Then we're playing just 2 Imperial Interceptor, mainly because it's a little more expensive. I mean, if you notice, that's our first 4-drop. So it took us all the way getting down to the 3rd row to get to a 4-drop because we were incredibly low to the ground. But it's just a good removal spell and just to kind of help us gain tempo or deal with the threat in space. Krrsantan is one of the new cards, super sweet card. It does have a downside of a bounty of when it's exhausted, so it comes into play exhausted. That if it's killed, which is not easy because it has 6 HP, that it will then do 5 damage to a base. But my thinking is like against aggro, like if they're attacking my units and doing like 6 damage to 1 unit, then that means they're not doing it to my face. So it kind of is an equal trade-off. So I think there's going to be some matchups where I don't want it. Like I imagine some aggro matchups I don't want it because I don't want to give them a way to get an extra 5 damage to my base if they have removal or something. Or if they're an Inquisitor deck, like Inquisitor Green or something, I don't know. But for the most part, it just feels amazing. On my turn 3, I can swing it for 5 damage with it, and it just gets stronger because it's a great unit with 6 HP. So if it takes more damage than that later in the game, it just gets even stronger. So super strong card. I've been able to get up to 8 damage on that card already, and it's just, you know, that's insane. So it wins you games. Jango Fett. So Jango Fett, like I said, is really good with the client. Otherwise, like, you know, we're not really getting a ton of synergy out of it with the bounty aspect of the card, but we can still attack into units and draw a card. So it's another form of card draw in this deck. But most of the time I'm just using it as a turn 3 play that swings in for 3 damage because it's got it's got 6 HP and it doesn't die very easily. So just another 3 damage unit that comes into play. Same thing with Seven Sister, immediately comes in, swings in for 3 damage, and then we can do 3 damage to a ground unit. Then one of the awesome new cards for this deck is Krrsantan, and Krrsantan, this is Krrsantan's home is in this deck, because as Krrsantan takes more damage, he does more damage to ground units. So Krrsantan just becomes like an incredible form of removal. So, you know, if an enemy has a bounty, like if we were able to use a bounty with client, then Krrsantan has synergy there and he's automatically ready. But again, I mean, that's cool in theory, but I don't know how often that's going to happen. Most of the time, you're just going to do Inquisitor's ability, do 2 damage to Krrsantan, swing in for 3 damage, and then do 2 damage to a ground unit on its turn coming into play, which is a very strong turn to come into play and do those things. Especially because you can pick the unit that you want to do the 2 damage to. And then we top it off with 2 Palpatine as our kind of our top end, one of our top end spells. And we have more top end spells in the sideboard that we'll talk about here in a minute. So then we're playing 3 Force Throw. So the reason that you're playing Force Throw is, you know, the obvious synergy with the Force units, with the Palpatine, the Seventh Sister, the Fifth Brother, and the Inquisitor, so that it becomes a form of removal once you have, you know, typically, hopefully, you have a Fifth Brother out. We also play 2 Force Choke in the sideboard for that same reason, because if you don't remember, Force Choke becomes 1 resource with a Fifth Brother out, or a Force unit out. Then we're playing 3 Power of the Dark Side, just an incredible removal to deal with big threats if there is a problem. Typically against like a Sentinel that's a problem, I would say, like a Chilson or something. That's where we're going to use that card. Most of the time we're just going to the face though. And then we have 3 Takedown. You know, again, just same kind of thing, just to deal with a unit that's a problem. A Sentinel typically that slows us down just to get it out of the way if we need to. But most of the time we're not using our removal. The Force Throws are great. I think there's an argument you could play Force Lightning because for the same reason. I chose to take out a Force Lightning that I had in the deck because I just wanted to play Krrsantan. I felt like it just, I mean, having 40 units in this deck just feels phenomenal. And then another thing that you could add, and I think it's fine to play with 51 cards in a deck like this, is add in like a Fallen Lightsaber. You could add in a Fallen Lightsaber just because it helps that theme of like pumping up those cheap units to make them even stronger. And you know, that's something I've toyed around with. I think I would probably strongly consider it because I don't think 51 cards is going to mess you up at all in this deck. And then we go to the sideboard. Like I said, we have 2 Force Choke. This could be 2 Force Lightning. I prefer Force Choke just because I think the Force units aren't strong enough yet to be in a place where Force Lightning gets as good as it can be, because I think after next set it's going to be nuts, and Force Lightning is going to be one of the go-to removals and probably the best removal in the game for the price and the flexibility and all the things that it does. But I think right now we're not there yet. We don't have enough Force units. Now there might be more Force units that are revealed. There's still like 100 cards or something left to be revealed, so could totally be wrong, and that could come back in this deck and make a lot more sense. But for right now, it's just 2 Force Choke just for those aggro matchups where I want to deal with something for 2 resources while still playing another unit. And, you know, that's kind of the point of Force Throw, Force Choke, Force Lightning in this type of deck, is that I want to always play units, and those things are cheap removal spells, especially if I have a Force unit out for Force Choke, so that I can kind of squeeze those removal spells in on the same turn that I'm still playing units and continuing to put pressure towards my opponent, which happens a lot. Then we play 2 Vigilance, again for aggro matchups for bringing that card in, just to have an additional form of life gain. We're probably taking out Palpatine, and for the Force Chokes, we're probably taking out probably the Krrsantan, just to not give them any help, and if they have some way of dealing with that card. Then we have 2 Vanquish, 2 Avenger, and 2 Crate Dragon. That's going to be coming in for control. So we'll be taking out like removal spells for those cards. Probably take down, and probably the Client, I would think, comes out. I think everything else is probably going to stay, most likely. Vigilance could come in too, so if we take, you know, if we brought in Vigilance, we would probably take out, I don't know. I don't even know if we want to do that. But yeah, so that's the list. This deck is super strong. You are winning these games a lot of times turn 3, turn 4, turn 5 at the latest. Now, your opponents are usually going to be on their back foot trying to stop you from winning, so that's why the games last a little longer. But your ability just to swing in for damage every single turn is too much. So Control, a very good matchup against Control. Like, Control's biggest weakness is a deck like this where I can just consistently damage them every turn and they can't do anything about it. They have to deal with the units on the board to slow me down. And then I can play another unit and attack him with it. It's just crazy. Aggro, we out aggro them. So I think probably one of your tougher matchups is going to be like Iden Blue, because Iden Blue is just an annoying deck. Like, it's all it does is sit there and try to mill you and gain life. So that's going to be an annoying deck. I still think you could beat it though because of your ability to attack in every turn. So I think it's winnable, but I also still think it's incredibly annoying. I would imagine Boba Cunning is probably going to be an annoying matchup, one of the more difficult ones, because they're bouncing your units. Although bouncing your units isn't a bad thing because your ability to attack in, it's still going to be annoying. And Cunning is just such a strong card against us because they're just shutting us down. And then they're out-tempoing us and bouncing us. So I could see that matchup being difficult. Trying to think what else could be difficult. I don't think Palpatine's going to be that bad because we're going to win before they get to the 6-7 resource turn most of the time. So I think we're fine against Palpatine. I think those 2 decks I just named are probably your toughest matchups. Maybe just like heavy life gain decks are probably a weakness too. Like a Luke Blue or the Rey Blue. Maybe those decks are harder because they're gaining so much life. I think another potentially tough matchup would be like Krennic Green or Iden Green, just because they're putting pressure on you while gaining life and removing things, especially Krennic. So I think matchups like that could be tough too. But I think like Vader Blue or just like harder control decks for the most part are gonna be in your favor because of your ability to just continuously push damage. So that's but I mean otherwise like I think this is a very very strong deck. Just so far in testing like just been running people over. I did not realize how strong some of these cards were until I started playing them. But yeah, as always, please like and subscribe. We're at like 750 subscribers now, so we're getting really close to the 1,000 mark. So make sure you subscribe and comment your favorite deck on the 1,000 subscriber giveaway. I greatly appreciate all of your support. Also, make sure to tune in to the end of this video, as I do end up making some changes to this list. And also, if you want to skip ahead, I talk about the sideboard options and the choices. So make sure to skip ahead if you want to check that out as well. But let's get into some games and see how Inquisitor Blue does against some of these new decks out there. Alright, up against Vader Blue, would I like to mulligan? I'm not too happy with the fact that I don't have any turn 1 plays. To be honest, it's not a good thing. Say yes. Okay, there's a card. Okay, so we get rid of 1/5 brother and maybe a takedown, I guess. We don't need a bunch of removal, we need units. Hopefully they don't have force choke like they always do. Okay, cool. What would we rather have? Krrsantan's harder to kill. Playing 5th brother, next turn we're playing that. What would we rather have? Krrsantan or 7th sister? I think I'd rather have Krrsantan. Yeah, I mean they both do very similar things. Okay, there's the force choke, of course. Sure, thank you. We'll go ahead and deal damage to ourselves and swing in for 5. Nope. Payouts. Alright, you wanna play Jango here? I mean, 5th brother is good. Either way, we're getting rid of Inferno. 5th brother's a card I want to have. Okay, there's that card. So we can just... It's a 3/3? That's pretty weak sauce, man. We just kill it. And then play another 5th brother? Or play a dark side and... No, let's save our units. Especially because he can't do anything else this turn, so. No. Nice. Alright. I like saving our units, that's good. Up to 5, we can play 5th brother and Doctor. Or I can play Krrsantan. Watch Loyalist is good too, because it swings in for 5. This deck is very strong. I think we can let Jango go. I think it's the awkward card right now, because it doesn't do as much damage. Interesting that he played that card instead of just killing our instead of killing our 5th brother. I guess he's gonna kill it now. No. Okay. Krrsantan. is a good card here. Deathwatch Loyalist is good. Just swing it for 5 more. Yeah. What just happened? Sorry, what just happened? They undid their last action. Okay. Okay, I was about to say, why would they do that? Okay. It doesn't really matter though, because we're just gonna do the same thing. Yeah. It's, what? Yeah. It's pretty disgusting, man. Like, we're just consistently swinging for 5 damage with these 3 drops. We don't need another doctor. We're at 6 resources. We can play. I mean, we can do so many things this turn. He's got to kill our 5th brother here. 5th brother. I mean, we have Deathwatch Loyalist too, then. Okay. I'm not sure why he just did that. That feels like the wrong move. No. 28. Okay. Sure. Sure. Alright, we're gonna go... I mean, let's go Krrsantan. It's harder to kill. And we'll go ahead and try to play the ability. If he powers it, whatever. Power the dark side's it. That's not going to be enough because we're just going to deploy our leader. Okay. Deal damage. Krrsantan. He's got 1. Not a lot he can do there. He could play a force something though. Force throw. Yeah, it's not doing it. It's not doing it, man. Good game. That was a pretty dominant performance. Deck's super aggressive, man. Super aggressive. Alright, up against Rey Blue here. I mean, yeah. Keep it. Probably get rid of... I mean, I like this card. Maybe get rid of the Doctor. And 7th Sister, I guess. I like the Doctor, but just want to be aggressive, right? We could kill this. Discard a card from your deck. If shares an aspect, base return to your hand. But let's just go face. Go like that. Oh, let this go. He gave it. What did he give it? An experience. Okay. Krrsantan's awesome. Go face. For 6. Okay, cool. Do this so we can kill his thing. With 5th brother. Deal damage. Go face. Yes. Boom. This deck feels pretty good. Not gonna lie. We do have a thing. So what do we want to play here? Takedown. Krrsantan. What is this flip? 6? Okay. I want to keep Krrsantan. So we're playing Force Throw and Death Watch this turn, I think. I'd love to squeeze in this Stormtrooper too. I mean, do we even? Yeah, I guess. Let's just play smart. Vigilance. Okay. Well, that's a good card to use, isn't it? Especially because now we can't use Force Throw. How can we? Of course, we're playing against a life gain deck with a deck that's super aggressive. Deathwatch Loyalist is nice. Just pass. We're gonna save the Force Throw. Okay, we can get rid of one Krrsantan here. Krrsantan. Goodness. Okay. Okay, the pressure is real. Krrsantan is a monster. Especially because it works so well with the Inquisitor here. Okay. Disgusting. Alright, we're at 6 resources. I think we can let this card go. Okay, cool. Let's go ahead and swing in here. So we're going to use Krrsantan to kill Rey, if he deploys Rey. Really just depends on what he does here. Krrsantan is a monster in this deck. Okay. So we're gonna deploy now. Crazy thing is Krrsantan can kill that thing. Which is crazy. Okay, so we can Force Throw. Deal damage equal to the cost of the discarded card. So we can Force Throw and discard. Choose a player. That player discards a card from hand. Then if you control a Force unit, you may deal damage to a unit. So we're going to discard Palpatine. Yourself, Palpatine. Then we're going to kill this. And then we're going to attack him with Krrsantan. Yeah, either way we have takedown, so it didn't matter. Yeah, he saw the writing on the wall, but that was a pretty epic flip turn for us. We're just gonna pass. I don't think we need the doctor. Oh yeah. Yeah, let's keep the doctor because we are a little low on cards. What's that? Moisture farmer? Okay. Defeat a unit. Nice. Isn't that cute? At least we got him to use his whole turn on it. Okay. Ooh. Lots of good stuff here. We're at 6 resources. What do we want to do here? Imperial kills that right away. He has what, restore 2 with this? Could also play 7th Sister and it does 3 damage to that thing. I feel like a Luke is coming or something big, so I want to keep the takedown. Yeah, let's go to 7 this turn. Okay, so we're gonna swing in here. Go face. Okay, sure. Do we want to just take that down? Just to like... Yeah, I think I do. I think I just want to get rid of that card. He could kill our Jango Fett if he has a Luke, which stinks. Yep. Like clockwork, right? Draw. The client. Attack. Pass. Why is it not passing? Is the game freezing on us again? It's unfortunate. This has been a really good game. Alright, and we're back. Claim victory. Okay. Well, I don't know what happened in that one. That was a good game, though. But we had 7th Sister and Force Throw, so that was a good situation to have there. We'll never know. Okay, up against Leia Red here. What do I got? Krrsantan. Okay, we have a super strong start. No, we are not mulliganing. This is an insane start. Okay, so we're gonna go Hylobon and Death Star Enforcer. Okay, so Gonna get rid of Pershing and Krrsantan and just be super, super aggressive here. Okay, they got a Sabine, so we're gonna go Death Star Stormtrooper into Hylobon, and then activate Hylobon, swing in for 3 damage. Man, these are the kind of hands you dream about. I'm gonna be honest, I don't see how our opponent has any chance in this game, but maybe they'll let us play it. Okay, gonna get rid of Dr. Pershing here, resource Dr. Pershing. Okay, so we're gonna swing in for 6 first. Okay, opponent's Fleet Lieutenant ending with Sabine for 5. Okay. No, they're not. They changed their mind. They are just swinging in with Sabine for 3. Okay. I think our opponent's trying to figure out what to do against us. I don't. Okay, so we're gonna swing it with the Enforcer here for 3. Okay, he played the Fleet Lieutenant. Okay, we swung in for 3 more with Stormtrooper. Okay, he undid our action again. I'm not really sure what our opponent's doing. Okay, so... Okay, he's disconnecting. Yeah, good game, good game. Alright, up against Moff, Tarkin, Blue. Do we have any turn 1 plays? We have a very weird hand. Let's mulligan. We can be so much more aggressive than this. We did not get... Okay, we did get something. Okay, okay, we're in good shape. So we're going to get rid of the client and the Palpatine here, I think. So we can get on a very aggressive start here. So we're swinging for 3. 8 next turn. And 13 the following turn, as long as our units stay on the board. So we'll see. I think we're gonna go ahead and what did he just 5th brother? Oh, that's annoying. Opponent here. Well, here I'll be annoying too. Since you happen to have regional governor. Discard a card. Take down, sweet. Get in for damage. Alright, another force throw is good, since we can't play 5th brother. We'll just let that go. He just played an annoying card as well. Take down to make an opening. Okay, so just play another one. Just to keep being annoying. Can you imagine if he didn't have regional governor right now? Okay, Death Trooper's fine. Player Stormtrooper. Pass. The annoying part is he can attack us here and kill us. Oh, we don't need 2 of these, I don't think. Yeah, that's the annoying part. It kills that. Cool. Our opponents had answers. I'm sorry. Well, that was cool. Okay, that's the first time I tried that card out. That didn't feel great. Doesn't feel good against blue, does it? We don't need that. See if he's got another one. I'm trying to figure out how we have less cards in our hand than him. We should have the same amount. If he hasn't... I mean, I guess he's only playing like one thing a turn, yeah. This flips on 6, yeah. Okay. Deal damage. We're swinging it for 5. I mean, that's gonna do 3 damage to me. So let's just kill that stupid thing. So now we're swinging for 8. Okay, he can kill that, but he's gonna lose the Grand Moff Tarkin if he attacks us. Okay, cool. Scout Jango. I kind of like Jango here. So we're gonna swing in for 8 first. Do we want to just kill Grand Moff? I think so. I mean, actually, let's just force him to deal with us. Like 8 damage is a lot if he doesn't deal with that card. Start putting him under pressure. Especially because we don't have as much life gaining. Okay, that's totally fine. Yeah, force him to make the trade. Okay. Let's do deal damage to Scout Bike. See if he has another make an opening here. It'd be nice if he didn't have an answer every single round for what we're doing. Thank you. Okay. We'll do one more to Scout Bike. Nice. 5th brother is very good. Oh, we're not resourcing anything. So we're swinging in with Scout Bike first, because it is the one that's going to die. Swinging for 4, 7, 10. Yeah, we definitely have lethal this turn if he doesn't deal with our units, or if he doesn't have life gain in his hand. Or a barrage. Isn't that cute? Well, he can kill Scout Bike, he can't kill anything else. So luckily enough, like he's barraging like a 2-power unit, so it's totally fine. We're just gonna swing in. Now he could kill Inquisitor here, which is annoying. Which is what I would do if I were him. Because he can't kill Jango. So that's fine. We're just gonna swing in. Just pass. It's unfortunate, but that's the smartest move for him, so we have to unfortunately play around that because he had another answer for us. Okay. So I'm gonna go Jango? What did he say? Let me guess. He said... What did he name for regional governor? What did you name for governor? What did you name? Okay. Seventh sister. Wrong choice. So we're definitely in a good position here. I think we have lethal next turn. Because basically any unit that he attacks is not, it's not gonna, ew. There's Seventh Sister, of course. Right on cue for another regional governor. Nope. That's the great thing about this deck. Once you get to 6 resources, you don't really need to do much else. Unless you draw a Palpatine and you want to use it. Avenger. Choose a card. Well, we'll choose the one that dies immediately. Well, no, neither of these die. Yeah. Just choose Jango. Let's go. Base. Yep. We'll do 1, 2, governor. He's got to have an answer, which he does not. And we just kind of took over the game, even though our opponent had very many answers. So, yeah, this deck continues to dominate. Haven't lost yet, but it's another good showing. So, I mean, definitely give this deck a shot. I think I did just add in the Sonara song. You can see that it's not great against control decks because if it comes in exhausted and they have an answer for it, I mean, they have to have the exact answer. So, I mean, it's fine, I guess. It's definitely not a card I really want a lot of versus aggro. I don't want to give aggro any help, but I think it's a sweet card nonetheless, and it just helps us on our curve with that 4 resource unit that we were missing. So it definitely made sense. I just took out the light worker, whatever it's called, the 7 resource flyer, just because I don't ever use that card. I think it's a good sideboard card potentially, so I think it's you bring in for different matchups when you take this card out, probably, because you definitely don't want to help the wrong decks get 5 damage to your base. But I mean, the thing is, like, if they're attacking into this guy with aggro, then that means they're not attacking your face, and they still have to do enough damage, which would have probably been the 5 damage anyway. So I think it's probably fine against aggro, because I mean, how often are they gonna? I mean, I guess there's times when it has low HP that could be a problem, like if it only had 1 or 2 HP. So it's still not great, but you just have to be smart with it, I think. So, all right, up against Leia Green. Got a Hylobon into a 5th brother, or yeah, very good. To mulligan, no. So we're getting rid of Jango. Takedown. Just gonna be as aggressive as possible. Boom. Boom. Oh, that's a that's a really sweet card for us. Oh my god. That's such an awesome card for us. I feel bad for him. Alright, I think we'll let Dr. Pershing go here. So it gives us a nice curve of Loyalist 5th brother. Okay, cool. So we'll swing in here. If he attacks, then we will give this one damage to make it happen. He did not. Get the 5th brother down, I think. He's just claiming the initiative, I guess. Okay, so we'll do our one. And we will... Actually, I should have done that differently. So I could have done 2 damage with this one, but it's fine. Getting in for buttloads of damage here. I'm sorry, what just happened? What? Undo. Thank you. Yes. And then 1 to here. Okay, I was like, what just happened? Cool. Swinging in for a ton of damage this turn. Let Inferno 4 go, I don't care about that. So now he can kill one of our units. Especially with that card that he just drew. Which is cool. So he's gonna be able to kill 2 of our units this turn. So what we'll do is, yeah, we're just gonna play a great unit here so that it gets stronger. Do you want to play this one or this one? I guess it's this one, right? Yeah, we'll let this thing take 2 damage. We're just not gonna... Why is it not playing the card? Oh, he's still resolving the ability. Huh? I'm so confused right now. Choose an action? I'm trying to play this card. I swear this thing keeps messing up lately. Okay. So now if he attacks in, cool. Okay, so we will go face. No. Just get in for as much damage as possible. Up to 17 already, which is sweet. Okay, smart. Do you want to just let him kill? Swing in for 3 more? I think so. So we're at 5 here. We could play Scout, Stormtrooper, or just play 7 Sister. I think we're just gonna do that next turn. Another command? Come on, man. Come on. 2 of them, isn't it? Super nice. Well, we're gonna have to pick one because you're getting on my nerves. So, have fun with that. Cool. Okay. Sure. Cool. Let one of those go. So we're gonna go ahead and play 7 Sister. So you can't kill our Scout Bike Pursuer. Yeah, Grey Squadron's a good card. Home 1, awesome. Don't you love it when your opponent has everything? So much fun, isn't it? Deploy. Just 1 damage, right? So let's do 1 to here. Awesome. I don't think there's enough he could do there. He has to have a removal unit, removal spell. We're just gonna let client go. He can gain 3 life, I guess. So he can get down 25. Sure. 2 damage, sure. Okay. So go base for 4. Okay. Good game. It's a good one. I think it would have been a lot quicker if they didn't get 2 commands in a row. That was pretty brutal. But another good. All right, up against Chewy Green with the ECL. So this is going to be interesting. Now I don't want to mulligan. We have some good stuff here early on. So definitely get rid of Palpatine. And then I mean, Seven Sisters is going to be good at a certain point. Maybe, I don't know. Let's just get rid of it for now. Just being able to play 2/3/1s on turn 1 is good. Wish we found a grit unit here, but maybe we'll draw into one next turn. So we can keep our foot on the gas pedal. Not sure what our opponent's doing. Okay. Well, we have the client, that's a card. So I think we can play that this turn. And probably swing in for 2. At least it's a unit where we can attack, so that's good. I think we'll hold on to our cheaper removal spells as well. What? What is our opponent doing? Okay. Did he just claim the initiative? Okay, I don't know. Okay. Maybe he doesn't have any cheap units? Not really sure. Ooh. Krrsantan. Okay, we can let the Pershing go. Krrsantan. Oh man, if I get a fallen lightsaber, I might need to take a break, because if I put a fallen lightsaber on this card, it becomes insane. Really not sure what our opponent is doing over there. He hasn't played a single card yet. I surrender no units. Oh wow. Sorry, man. Well, good game. That stinks. What is he playing then? If he, I guess it, yeah. Try this deck out sometime, it's fun. About to post a video on my YouTube channel of it. But yeah, I mean, so we would have swung in for 8. I mean, they probably would have had a Sentinel, so we could have either swung in for 8 or just played like a Power of the Dark Side or something. Cool. Have a good one. But the other thing would be, you know, just play the Krrsantan with Grit and swing in for 5 damage with that. So we might, you know, let's say they played a Sentinel, we might just take the Sentinel out with Death Star Stormtrooper potentially, and then play the Krrsantan to get in for more damage. So different options. So back for the post-game wrap-up. So I made a couple of changes to this list after some playtesting. I took out the force throws. I just felt like a lot of times my opponent was just discarding the worst card in their hand, and I wasn't actually using it as a removal spell. I mean, Fifth Brother is like heavily targeted, so the chances that I get to pull off that are pretty low. So I just felt like Force Choke was better early on, because even if I don't get to use it for 1 resource with the Fifth Brother, I'm still just getting to use it for 2 resources, and that still works well when I'm at about 4 resources, where I can play a unit and play a Force Choke in the same turn. So, and that's right around the turn that I want to deal with aggros on the 4 resource turn. So it just feels like the better removal. And then I can't remember. Oh, I cut 1 takedown as well. And then was there anything else I cut? No, I just cut the 1 takedown, and then I added in 2 fallen lightsabers, so that put me up to 51 cards. So like I said earlier, I think 51 cards is fine on a list like this, where you have like 40 units. And I feel like the fallen lightsaber just does a lot of things in this deck that synergize with what we're doing. So first of all, it's just pumping up our Death Star Stormtrooper, making it a 6/4. Our Hylobon Enforcer becomes a 4/7, so it's able to grit up to 6 damage, so that it's like can swing for like 10 damage if it has 6 damage on it, which is insane. Same thing with our Scout Bike Pursuer, so it becomes a 4/7. Same thing, can swing up to 10 damage. Another crazy one is the Krrsantan, so it becomes a 6/9. So it can swing up to 14 damage with a fallen lightsaber by itself if it gets up to 8 damage, which is crazy. So fallen lightsaber just is that extra like oomph that this deck needs to like close the game out sometimes. Just feels like the right card. And then of course when you play it on like Fifth Brother or Seventh Sister, it does the thing where it deals 1 damage to each ground unit the defending player controls, which synergizes with like what Seventh Sister and Krrsantan are trying to accomplish, like killing units on the ground. And then so because of that, I also added in a couple of bombing run on the sideboard, just to like, sometimes aggro can just, you know, other aggro decks can just like get really wide against us, which is something that we can do too, but sometimes they go wider, and bombing run is one of those cards that can just kind of clear out whatever side, especially if they go heavy in space. And it also synergizes with our grit units, especially if we have fallen lightsaber, but really the only 2 units I think in this deck that die from a bombing run without damage on our units are Death Star Stormtrooper and Deathwatch Loyalist. Everything else has 4 HP or higher, so bombing run makes a lot of sense in here. It's just a card you bring in versus aggro. And speaking of which, let's get to the side. Okay, so looking at the sideboard, so versus aggro, we're going to be taking out the 2 Palpatine just because it's too expensive. We don't really need it. And the 2 Dr. Pershing because we don't really care about card draw in this matchup that much. We're going to be bringing in 2 Bombing Run, like we talked about, to deal a bunch of damage and benefit with our great units, and then 2 Vigilance for a life gain. Against Bobo, we're going to be taking out the 2 Dr. Pershing and bringing in 2 Vanquish for sure, just to have more removal to deal with their units. And then we're possibly bringing in 2 Avenger and 2 Crate Dragon. Really just depends on the matchup and, you know, getting a feel for it and how it, you know, what kind of cards they have in their sideboard that we might need. So if we feel like the game's really going to go on, then those are cards that I would love to bring in because they're both amazing cards. And then, you know, sometimes Boba can be playing, you know, a little more for the long game. So that's my thoughts. But definitely we're just bringing in the 2 Vanquish and taking out the Pershing. And then against Control, we're going to be taking out a removal. We're taking out the 2 Takedown, the 3 Force Choke, and the 3 Client, just because We don't care too much about gaining life with the client. And then we're bringing in 2 Vigilance, 2 Vanquish, 2 Avenger, 2 Crate Dragon. So that's my sideboard plan as of right now. Of course, that could change depending on what new awesome cards are revealed. But yeah, just a super fun deck overall. Just some of these new grit cards like the Enforcer and the Krrsantan are just really sweet. And I just think this deck has a lot of potential. The Deathwatch Loyalist as well. So, and then Krrsantan. So that card's disgusting. But definitely let me know what you guys think of the list, or if you tried out a similar list, or any changes that you might make, or maybe some cards that I missed. I know First Light was a card that I did not put in here. I thought about it as an option where it just gives everything grit, but I ended up just keeping Palpatine in and not putting that card in, because I still feel like Palpatine is one of the best cards in the game around that price. I do think the First Light is cool because it has Smuggle, so it might be something to explore more. Maybe I trim a couple of other things to make that work. I think in this list I would maybe trim like 1 client or 1 Jango Fett to fit in the First Light, but I really like those cards, and so I don't know if I would do that at the moment, but we'll see. But as always, please leave any feedback and let me know what you guys think. And as always, y'all have a good one, and peace out.